horror movies. They're usually pretty bad, aren't they? So color me surprised when this month alone has brought us some outstanding horror films. And I'm not talking about the year 2026 by itself, rather the entirety of the 2020s thus far. I love scary horror flicks, so I wanted to talk about the new ones that just came out this month, or I guess last month for you guys, as some of these are really special to me. So let's talk about them. Starting off the month, we have Obsession, directed by Curry Barker.
No, don't do that!
What else is there to say? If you somehow haven't seen this film yet, what are you doing? Easily one of the best films of the year and arguably of the decade. Spoilers for this film ahead, it's your fault if you haven't seen it yet. In case you've been living under a rock, Obsession is about our main character Bear having a crush on his friend Nikki. He's a complete pansy though, and can't work up the guts to ask her out. So through a series of events, he buys a one-wish willow, something that can make any wish come true, and wishes for her to love him more than anyone else in the world. Obsession is a movie that I can't see anyone objectively hating on. Like yeah, it may not be for everyone taste-wise, but to straight up call it bad in any way is just wrong. The only real complaint that I've heard multiple people say is that it was super loud. Now when I saw this movie, I saw it in a Dolby theater, so for me it was loud on purpose, so I can't verify or deny these claims. What I love about this movie the most is how on the surface, it seems that Nikki is the villain, but in actuality, it's Bear. Like hell, you could argue that Ian and Sarah were right there alongside him as well.
Got you a gift. You shouldn't have.
Bear is the definition of a chud. Not only does he lack the courage to ask a girl out, but he forces her to stay with him even after realizing it's not actually her who loves him. Ian was a jackass the entire film, basically lying to Bear about his chances with Nikki, and Sarah was so jealous and blinded by her love that she didn't even consider the fact that Bear could ever be in the wrong and put all the blame on Nikki. I was getting so pissed at everyone in this film, and it felt so cathartic. I absolutely love when a piece of media can make me so passionate like this. Now, of course, this is only possible due to the actors and actresses. No matter how well a character is written, if the people playing them are not good at their job, it won't matter. So it pleases me to say that everyone in this film was phenomenal, with Indy Navarrete being the breakout star. I hope you're ready, we're about to see her in literally every horror movie from now on. Indy played the role of Nikki better than anyone else could have. You could have put any A-list actress in her role, and it would have been a hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby situation. The way she switched from Nikki to whatever the One Wish Willow did to her was on par to Toni Collette's performance in Hereditary. And I do not put that lightly, by the way. It's been a long time since I've been scared at a horror movie, but oh my god, this shit was creepy. I've never seen a movie make someone so attractive so terrifying. The one scene in particular that really got me was the one after the party at Bear's apartment. Oh, you know, the scene where her movements were really weird. I really can't recall the last time I was that creeped out at a movie before. She's easily the next Scream Queen, and I'm all for it. I'm sorry, Mia Goth, you are amazing, but there's a new actress in town. Very excited to see her future roles. Indy's not gonna get all the praise, as Michael Johnston was phenomenal in the role of Bear. He perfectly played his role of the shy and timid nice guy. Like when he was scared, I felt it. From this film alone, you can tell he has a huge acting range, so I assume we'll see him in future horror films as well. I'm just gonna hope and pray that he's not typecasted though. Alongside these two, we have Cooper Tomlinson and Megan Lawless, who played their parts perfectly as well. I do have to say though, they were not focused on nearly as much as Indy and Mike, so I'm not too sure about their acting range, but given their performances in this film, I believe that they're great as well. Very excited to see what's in store for them. Obsession may not be perfect, but to me, it is. It's been a very long time since I've been this passionate about an original film with no prior source material, especially one in the horror genre. Outstanding job, Curry Barker. Very excited to see what you got in store for us. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. Next, we have our least known horror film of the list, Saccharine, which was directed by Natalie Erika James. This film was very clearly inspired by The Substance, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, personally, I like both stories. I'm just surprised we're getting something so soon after it came out. Because this film is much more unknown, I won't spoil anything for you folks, so don't worry. Saccharine is about our main character Hannah, who is very clearly overweight. One night, she runs into an old classmate who also used to be overweight. It's here that she learns about a new weight loss pill that is created with human ashes. She tries them and finds out she's now haunted by the ghost of the person she is consuming. Again, it's very clearly inspired by the substance. You can see this by its plot, the way it's filmed, how it goes about telling its story, and more. The biggest surprise for me was how good the makeup and special effects were. Sometimes they were so good that I actually got grossed out, especially the eating scenes. Oh my god. But they absolutely killed it in that department, so good job, y'all. Our main character was great. Midori Francis was excellent as Hannah, really selling you on what she was experiencing. Even her friend Josie was great as well. She was played by Danielle MacDonald. Although we definitely didn't see her nearly as much as Midori, you can still tell she was giving it her all. Everyone else though, yeah, they were alright. I don't think anyone did bad per se. I just think these two were very clearly a tier above the rest. The biggest gripe I have with this movie is how the pacing feels a little wonky at times. Sometimes it's super slow and leaves you thinking, can we move on from this already? That's not to say that all the slow pacing is bad. I think when they do it in a suspenseful way, it works really well. Again, I don't want to spoil too much because I think you should watch it, especially if you're into body horror. If you enjoyed the substance, I cannot recommend this one enough. It may not be as insane or highbrow as that film, but it was a fun ride that told a worthwhile story in a very unique 2020s type of way. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. Following this, we have Passenger, easily the most disappointing horror film of the year so far. With such insane marketing, releasing only one real teaser, and having this film directly compete with Obsession and The Backrooms, I was shocked with how generic of a film this was. Like, yeah, this is a fun movie if you turn your brain off, but that's it. In comparison to what else we got this month, this is nothing. If it came out in April alongside Lee Cronin's The Mummy or Faces of Death, I doubt it'd be getting clowned on this much. Actually, never mind, it probably would get the same amount of criticism. It's just not that good. Passenger is about a young couple witnessing a gruesome accident, the one shown in the teaser trailer, but soon realize that after leaving the crime scene, they're not alone, as a demonic presence called the Passenger is now following them. As of writing and recording this, I saw this film less than 24 hours ago, and I can barely remember anything about it. It was so underwhelming and generic that it doesn't even stick out to me in my head. The characters were nothing special, both with how they were written and who played them. Lou, however you say her name, and Jacob Scipio are our leads, and they did not do well in terms of acting. Hell, even our only side character Diana didn't do that well. Personally, I see this more of an issue with the director, André Øvredal. Is that how you say his name? An excellent example of a director not directing their actors very well would be M. Night Shyamalan working with Alex Wolff. Alex was absolutely fantastic in Hereditary, which was directed by Ari Aster. But in that same breath, he was horrible in Old, which was directed by the aforementioned M. Night Shyamalan. You get what I'm saying? Since they're the face of the film though, I have to at least mention it. Every other film we're talking about today feels like it came out this year. This is because of many factors, whether it's because of the fresh and new ideas they bring to the table, or just because of how they were written. So it pains me to say, The Passenger feels like it released in the 2010s and not in a good way. Like this could have been the plot of a Conjuring film, which at the time might have been cool, but now, it just feels played out. Like The Passenger that terrorizes our main characters is your generic satanic demon whose weakness is a church. Wow. Hammy acting from everyone involved, a boring story that we've seen time and time again, and the villain so generic that you'll forget him in a day. The most memorable part about this film was that it played The Passenger by Susie and the Banshees in the end credits. That song is a banger, check it out if you don't know it. I gave it a 5 out of 10 on Letterboxd, but I'm bumping it down. 4 out of 10. Finally, we have The Backrooms, directed by Kane Parsons. This was easily one of my most anticipated films of the year. As someone who grew up on lost media, creepypastas, and indie horror games, it felt like a fever dream seeing this hit the big screen. So, did it live up to my expectations? No. It surpassed them. Backrooms is not only a great film, but an amazing commentary on the current state of the internet and AI. But before I dive into that, quick plot summary. The Backrooms is about our main guy Clark going through a really rough time in his life. His marriage is failing, he's stuck at a job that he hates, and he's unable to chase his dream of being an architect. One day, he sees a weird opening in his store and he discovers the Backrooms. This film blew my expectations out of the water. I was really nervous going into it because not only was I a huge fan of the Backrooms in general, but I had no idea how Kane was going to write a narrative film about this. Like, yeah, he has a great series on YouTube, but these are short films, completely different from a major motion picture. Thankfully, he delivered, and in more ways than one. The plot itself wasn't overly complicated, so it was very easy to follow and get invested in. Before we go on, here is your spoiler warning. Got it? Let's talk about it. I loved how Kane made Clark a horrible person. There were some very obvious hints dropped throughout the movie, but the reveal of the still lifes really sells it, and in such a unique and interesting way. Let me explain. So in the movie, we learn that the Backrooms takes the memories of people and recreates it in its own Backrooms-esque way. It basically works like generative AI, where it's fed information and spits out its own interpretation of it. Nothing it creates is original. So when we get to the dinner scene with Clark and his fake wife, it's amazing. We see how when the fake Clark enters the room, his fake wife freaks out and runs away, showing us how he was not only abusive to her, but was purposely not telling his therapist this info. What an asshole. Now all of this is great, but what really makes it work is the ending. Mary, our second main character, is captured by Async, the company behind the creation of the Backrooms. It's obvious that they're trying to learn as much as they can from her before disposing of her. When she fully realizes and understands this, we cut to the final shot of the film, which shows how the Backrooms have now added her, along with her memories, to the place. Genuinely such a chilling yet sad ending. It perfectly encapsulates the atmosphere and feeling that Kane invokes in everything Backrooms related that he's worked on. Now, of course, these are all pros, but there are some cons. The biggest issue I really had with the film was how we didn't get to see Clark's true descent into madness. We only really saw the beginning and the end of it. The entire middle section of him actually going crazy and thus watching him spiral is completely missing. And I think if we had an extra 10 or so minutes diving into all of it, it could have easily brought the quality of the film up even more. Moving on from the plot though, let's talk about the characters. Chiwetel Ejiofor, who played Clark, and Renate Reinsve, who played Mary, were both superb. Not only did they have marvelous performances on their own, but their chemistry was incredible. You can really see how great they were together during their first therapy session and the dinner scene towards the end. No notes at all. And speaking of no notes, the visuals were phenomenal. I saw some people say that certain aspects looked a little silly, like the bird that died in the beginning, but to be honest, I didn't think so. Even if I did understand this criticism, everything else looked amazing. The set looked perfect, straight up ripped from this online series, the still lifes looked unsettling, and the VFX looked great as well. I also appreciate the amount of Easter eggs he snuck in, like the original images of the Backrooms and the music he previously used in his own series. There were even some Easter eggs that I completely missed, like how B1, All That Follows by The Caretaker, was played in the film. In case you don't know, this song is heavily associated with liminal spaces and Backrooms-esque content on the internet, so that was a really nice touch. There's many more, but I plan on making an entire video dedicated to the Backrooms, so be on the lookout for that. Finally, let's go back to the whole commentary on AI. Like previously mentioned, the way the Backrooms works is that it takes the memories of people and spits out its own bastardized version of it. This is most obvious with the still lifes, as we see them having multiple body parts that they shouldn't, as well as really smudged faces. But we also see this in the environment. You can most clearly see this at the end when we see Mary's memories being interpreted, as the room is set up the exact same as the room the Async guys took her into. What I loved about its commentary of AI was how it shows us that taking something pre-existing and just putting it into a generator creates something that's so disturbing and unsettling. I mean, like hell, the Backrooms would commonly just reinterpret itself and just create an amalgamation that looks like a mess. AI did exactly this with the Ghibli trend, and that's why so many AI pics have a yellow tint to them. So yeah, I appreciate the modern AI talk it provided. Thank you, Kane. If you couldn't tell, I absolutely loved this film and the commentary it provided. Younger me was screaming the whole time, and it really exceeded my expectations. So I'll be giving it a 9 out of 10. The one issue I had of Clark's mental breakdown not being shown is a big factor in my rating, because otherwise I probably would have given it a 10. Kane, you have a bright future when it comes to filmmaking. I am very excited to see what you got coming up. So why talk about these films? Well, I believe this month is a signal to everyone that the film industry is changing, and quicker than we think. Among the 4 movies we've talked about today, 2 of them are from up-and-coming filmmakers who started out as YouTubers, while the other 2 are veterans in comparison. Despite all of this, the 2 films making the most noise are from the younger generation. At this point, I'm pretty sure we've all seen the box office accomplishments coming from both Obsession and Backrooms, and it's really cool to see. Gen Z has finally caught up to Hollywood directors and are now creating their own pieces of work that resonate with a much larger audience. You can argue it's not even exclusive to Gen Z, as we've seen Markiplier's Iron Lung do insane numbers earlier this year. Overall though, the scene is changing. Hollywood has to accept that the newer and younger talent is starting to have the same appeal as some seasoned veterans. Of course, these films aren't making Avatar or Endgame levels of money, but they're definitely making a profit, which at the end of the day is what they're going to care about the most. So in short, I am very excited to see who the next breakout star from YouTube is going to be. We know that Jacksepticeye is making a Bloodborne film, and Markiplier plans on making even more movies outside of video game adaptations. So regardless, if we get a breakout star or not, we'll definitely be getting more films made by YouTubers. And honestly, I think that's pretty rad. So, what did you guys think of these movies? Have you seen any of them? Did I glaze or hate on a film too much? Let me know in the comments. I've been LorenzoJC, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace out, folks. Also, if anyone knows any other bands similar to Susie and the Banshees, please let me know. Okay, bye!